Hey guys, warm welcome to Learn Software Architecture channel. And before we start, just let me know if you can hear my voice, if you can see me clearly, because this is the first stream that I personally host. And in general, why I decided to start this channel was that you are able to find a lot of different resources around the internet that are treating about software architecture or software development topics, but quite often they are really focusing on being so strict about, for example, clean architecture, hexagonal onion, CQRS, event sourcing, event streaming, and so on. And this channel is built to not to focus just on one single thing, but to take into consideration all the things that we have around. And by saying all the things we have around, I mean such a holistic and pragmatic approach to software architecture, because quite often you don't need to just grab only clean architecture and follow this way from the bottom to the top. Quite often you can just take and combine several different architectural styles, architectural patterns, and just be pragmatic of what you do. And that's why this channel is created, and I hope you will be enjoying it for the next months, maybe even years. However, of course, my plan is to just release regular episodes till the end of this year, and then we will see how it goes next. How will this channel look like? Because this might be a question that is quite interesting to answer. And my plan is for sure to have one live session like today with me, where I will be answering questions related to software architecture topic. How this topic will be selected? I would like to have questions from you that are coming on my LinkedIn or in comments on YouTube episode or anywhere else. And based on that, I will be selecting a topic for a live. And this live will usually take place just once per month. And there we will focus on this concrete area. And of course, during this session, you will be able to ask questions and I will try to answer them live. Then there will be another part. This will be probably 2 episodes that will be released every Tuesday at 7 p.m. And in these episodes, I will just describe some architectural style, architectural pattern, software development topic, and so on. This won't be a live episode, but still we will be able to probably work on it in a comments. I will try to answer your questions as well after releasing the episode. But the most interesting part will be the live interview with a well-known guest from the IT world. I have already 5 guests who confirmed participation, so there will be an episode in March, April, May, June, and July, and I am organizing already next guests starting from August. What I can tell you is that we will have a lot of super interesting topics like functional programming, like event sourcing, tech leadership, test-driven development, and many more. Next week, save the date, there will be a first guest, a good friend of mine, Radek Maziarka, who will talk about the art of tech leadership. He is the best tech lead that I know. I don't know any better tech lead. So if you are interested in a topic of being a tech lead, maybe you would like to become a tech lead, maybe you are today a senior developer or a junior developer who is looking forward to his career path, then I really invite you to the next week episode, and this will be a live interview. Yes, you will be able to ask questions to the guest, and this guest will try to answer during the live session. If we won't be able to answer, then just we will get back to you, and then we can go further with the answers. And from the perspective of the date, as I mentioned, it will be a next week. And usually you can expect it once a month. This live interview with an IT guest will be once per month. Episodes will always be released on Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central European time. So like today, at the moment it's 7 p.m., 6 past 7 p.m. Then it's every Tuesday at the same time. In case of change, I will of course let you know before the episode. Yes. Do you have any questions? If you have any questions, you can put it in comments. And for next episodes, during the episode, you can as well put your comments, and we will try to answer it during the interview or during the live session, not waiting until we are finished and then asking to put some kind of a question. If not, then I have something really interesting. Today, I posted a poll, and in this poll, I asked the question if you would accept a production code where this production code would contain just one project. And the answers are quite interesting because from what I checked, and here we can go again to this LinkedIn post, from what I checked, it was quite equal between yes and no. So yes, I will be able to do that, and no, I can't accept it. And this is something really interesting. Just looking at it, give me a sec. Yes, 38 votes. And out of these 38 votes, 53% voted for yes, I can accept only one production project in my application code. 26% said no, I can't accept it. And 21% said maybe. And this is very interesting. And why it is interesting? When we are talking about greenfield application, usually we don't know what will happen in the next month, 2 or 3. So we need somehow to plan our architecture to be bulletproof against changes. And we fall usually in the beginning of such project to something called project paradox. Out of this project paradox, in the beginning, we have so many decisions to make when we have so little knowledge about our domain, about our users, about number of requests per second that this application will generate, and so on, that it will be very hard to just create some silver bullet application with silver bullet architecture. And that's why it might make sense to go in such case with just one project in production code. This is something where people quite often tell me, hey man, have you gone crazy? How can it be that you have just one production project? Because usually people start to think that it's some kind of a big ball of mud. In the end, it might be a big ball of mud, but if you start with it, you can modularize it with namespaces, you can modularize it with packages, and there are so many different options, like by folders even. You can modularize it by folders and so on. And based on your needs, you can evolve to some more complex architecture when you know what you really need. In the meantime, I don't know if you are aware of, but there is a GitHub repository called Evolutionary Architecture. And with this GitHub repository, together with Kamil, we are showing how you can migrate your application from the simple step where we are focusing on a simplicity, delivering the product to the market, so building MVP in 3-4 weeks, and then you can evolve it and focus on growth, focus on complexity, and so on. So I invite you to look at this repository. I will put the link in a comment in this stream, and afterwards it will be as well available in a description on YouTube video. There was a comment today, a really nice one, which comes from Urs, and he mentioned that at the start he could surely accept this simple project for a production application, but then he doesn't want to have infrastructure dependencies in business logic assembly, because the business logic probably will run in different places. And you can imagine here like Web API or Azure Functions. This is an example of it. And the second one is that you might have too many dependencies, and to drop it, maybe it would make sense just to extract the parts to different assemblies. Another good comment which I saw today was from, just give me a sec, from Romano. Romano wrote that it depends, he would select it depending on the problem that we are solving. And he said that he thinks that a single production project is a great approach for a Hello World application, and of course it is. But other than that, I asked him a question: would he do that for early stages of a commercial application, the simple structure of code? And he mentioned that it would depend on a business context. And here, very important questions that you should always answer. First question, what are we optimizing for? Second question, do we care about time to market? Because if we care about time to market and we need to release it in 3 or 4 weeks, of course, it would be way easier to just focus on delivering the business value instead of infrastructural things, layers, and so on, because then you would lose a lot of time. Are we funded for the next 5 years? Are we merely trying to prove a concept? Do we understand the problem domain? Can we predict how our system scales? These are questions which are very tough usually to answer in the beginning, but not always. You can take into consideration situations where someone is working for a large-scale organization, and this large-scale organization has already its own infrastructure. Probably there is Kubernetes, probably there are some clouds, and so on and so on. And there are teams of DevOps who can care of this infrastructure for you. You might just plug in your application just to another namespace. You will have a set of pods in Kubernetes cluster, and then you can imagine that you can build more complex application from scratch. And of course, in large-scale organizations, it's as well something like you don't build usually a product in 3 or 4 weeks just to validate it with the market. And that's because of all these processes that you have, all these approvals that you have in such company. And usually you are building more an EVP, which will take you around 1 year. And there you can focus on a lot of different stuff, a lot of different architectural patterns, because you have time for it. On the other hand, while working for startup or small company, which needs to validate the product as soon as possible with the market, it would be very tough to just focus on these architectural patterns. And that's why in such case, this one production code project could make sense for you. I am just looking if there is any new comment, but I can't see it. So yes, as mentioned before, This episode is just a starting one. I hope you like it. And usually, this live interview with my guest will take around 1 to 1.5 hour live with me as well, something around 1.5 hour. And this episode, probably it will be something around 20, maybe 30 minutes. And I invite you as well to join a community on our Discord channel. It's called as well Learn Software Architecture. The link will be there as well. And I think that's it for today's. Don't miss the episode from the next week, a live interview with Radek Maziarka about the art of tech leadership. And I wish you guys a nice day, a nice evening, and see you then.